Good morning, everybody. How you doing? It's my great privilege to be with you here today. Looking back at your convocations and the speakers, it's such an honor to be invited to speak with you. Just for the record, this Liberty's been on our radar screen for several years now. My son, who's now a freshman at Baylor University, Liberty was on his short list as he finished at Shiloh Christian School in Springdale, Arkansas. I figured there might be a few of you out there. He was seriously considering Liberty, but I think as a parent, we never really know why our kids choose the schools that they choose. With my son, it was the engineering program there, and it's a great school. As I started thinking, I'm quite certain that I know one person who was very happy with his decision, and that's probably the store manager at the Wal-Mart just across the highway here, because now I'm not going to be hanging around Lynchburg quite as often. So you can talk to the folks at the stores in Waco and find out just how miserable that actually is. But as I was preparing for the time with you, and I was reminded of the college search process that I did with my son, and I thought I would talk to you about what you're doing here, and that is getting ready to change the world. Now that's a bold statement, getting ready to change the world. You know, obviously you'll make friends for life while you're in school, but I don't want you to underestimate how enormous the experience that you're going through is, because when I went through it, to be honest with you, I'm not sure that I realized what was happening to me until it was almost over. And now, in this time in our country's history, it's more important than ever. You know, you arrived at college with a set of beliefs that's mostly driven by your background, your upbringing, hopefully your parents, but it's here at school that you'll really begin to form the personality and the type of person that you're going to be and how you're going to impact the global community, what you stand for. Some of you will even determine what you're going to do here on earth. And I don't mean what job you're going to have. I don't even really think, to be quite honest with you, that that's all that important. Because the truly exceptional will make a difference wherever they are and whatever they're doing. What I mean is, while you're here in this time, it's up to you to get as much out of that experience as you possibly can, so that when you leave here, you can make the world a better place. And that's why I believe that you're here at this school at this time. As a man of faith, we're taught that nothing happens by accident for such a time as this. It's not a coincidence that you're here on the brink of your professional careers when our country needs faith-based leadership more than it ever has in every aspect of our society. See, I think that's good news for you. It's going to be difficult out there, there's no doubt, but world-changing opportunity is here right now, and the foundation to drive that you'll get here while you're at Liberty. You see, we're in the most transformative period this world's seen in years, and maybe even in generations. You know, our global economy's been rocked, shaken. People are nervous, scared. Everybody's a bit uncertain about our collective future. Trust fractured, faith challenged, confidence compromised. But the reality, Americans and citizens of many countries around the world are looking for some faith-based revival, longing to get back to the security and confidence that we've had for so many years. And that reality, folks, is your opportunity to make a difference in the world, a meaningful difference. You're going to come out of school in a very, very difficult time, sure. But the world needs you in a way that you may not even understand right now. You've got to embrace that challenge and help us solve those very, very difficult problems that we're facing. You know, you go to Liberty University, you chose to be here, a place where faith is paramount and service is expected. This school was created because your founders saw a void. There wasn't a place for people of faith to be educated with world improvement at the center. It says so right in your guiding principles. It says everything we do is designed to develop Christ-centered men and women with the values, knowledge, and skills essential to impact tomorrow's world. Impact tomorrow's world? That's what you're here for. Impact tomorrow's world. Your time is meant to prepare you for that challenging and so rewarding mission. You're going to impact the world, whether you know it or not. You've chosen to be here. And more importantly, folks, you were chosen to be here. A place where your faith can be nurtured and strengthened, and where you're going to receive the tools to make the world a better place. Be worthy of it. Be prepared for it. It's so important. We desperately need you. You know, my college experience was pretty standard. I went to the University of Connecticut as an undergrad. Wow. That was before the basketball program was any good, I might add. I made a lot of great friends, learned a lot, but I remember while I was there, the search began. I vividly feeling like something was missing from the experience. It was great. You know, the biggest struggles were which party to go to and whether I was going to join a fraternity or not. And I finally figured out that I didn't need more. I needed to give more. And I wanted to be part of something bigger, something with purpose, something with meaning, as we all search for in our life. I was a college senior in 1980, a long time ago. And I remember talking to some of my friends as we were getting ready to graduate, thinking, nothing really important or substantial has happened in the world in like 30 years, you know? Not much. I remember even complaining about it. We were in a history class talking about, you know, those guys in the Revolutionary War, man, they had it made, right? They had the passion to do something that was important, liberty, independence, something that was worth fighting for. They spent day and night thinking about it. And how come we didn't have anything like that? That must have been amazing. Something to care so much about, something that you'd lay down your life for. It happened again in the 1860s or in the Civil War. Wow, that was cool. Hold the country together. And then again, Normandy. Imagine storming Omaha Beach in order to bring an end to the tyranny and fascism of Nazi Germany. I wanted to care about something that much. Something. Anybody who cared enough to die for something was doing something worthwhile. So then it became clear to me that my biggest fear in life was that one day somebody would call me average, or maybe even worse, that I'd go through life having been invisible and not left a mark, leave the world just as I'd found it, not any better. So honestly, I made the choice right then and there to live with a purpose, to drive rather than ride, and to lead rather than follow, to take a different path and not just stay the course. Well, it's your turn now. What are you going to do? You have to do the same because the world needs you. Really, we need you out there. The capacity that you have, the faith that you bring to it to do more, we are so counting on you. But you're probably asking, what's it take? How do I do it? And I don't know the answer to that because it's different for everybody. The process, the discovery, the outcomes. But there's one thing that's universal, and I promise you that it is. Fulfillment comes only when you do something that's meaningful. And I thought I might share a little bit with you about my journey. In fact, the journey that I'm still on that leads me to look for something meaningful in life. I told you I went to UConn, you know, as a college senior trying to decide what to do after graduation. For those of you who know, Hartford in Connecticut is filled with insurance companies, so if you have a business degree from the University of Connecticut, your choices are, which insurance company do you want to work for, and do you want to sell life insurance, or do you want to be an insurance underwriter? Yeah. You know, I figured that would have been great, and I had lots of years to do it. If I wanted to do that for 50 years, I probably could have done that. But I decided to join the United States Navy. You know, a logical choice, but I figured if it was terrible, I'd get out after 4 years and go back to the insurance companies. The insurance companies would be there. But for me, it was a great choice. And I joined the Navy. I actually went the day after I graduated, literally the day after I graduated. And I was privileged to serve in the Navy, active duty for 6 years, and another 19 in the reserves. And it was during that time that it became clear to me what living with a purpose looked like. You see, folks, sometimes leadership is acknowledged by overt symbols like medals and pins and ranks and awards. But the fact is, those visible signs are just a measure of an inner strength and a drive to accomplish more. Because I'm telling you, it's not about titles or rank or promotion. You earn your leadership stripes by being a trusted person who people want to follow. It's the quality of your character that can allow you to make a difference in the world. No matter who you are, no matter what you're doing, you can choose to be a great leader by exhibiting a personal authority. It's simple, really. You can choose to be kind. You can choose to be truthful. You can choose to be generous. Those are the qualities of a leader. We saw a whole lot of people in the military who deserved to get medals and awards, and we saw a whole lot more who were never formally recognized. But we would have followed them anywhere, and we did, really. I'll tell you a story about my first captain, Captain Dyer. When I was a young officer, I reported aboard a destroyer in Charleston, South Carolina. Captain Dyer, as you could imagine, as the captain, as a young college kid, I was pretty nervous. Captain Dyer had been in the Navy at that point about 30 years, and he was, as they say, a salty sea dog. He was a real old, every picture of a salty old sea captain that you could imagine, that was Captain Dyer. And as I walked in there to present him with my orders when I reported, I was expecting he was going to give me that, college boy kind of speech that you would have seen on TV that the old guy gives the young guy. But what I got was totally different and so completely unexpected that frankly it changed my life. He just simply sat me down and he looked me in the eye and he said, "I don't really know you, but I want you to know that I trust you and that your country's counting on you. And I know you might make some mistakes, but we're in this together. Now I want you to go out there and do your job to the best of your ability." Man, you know how that makes you feel? I can't tell you. It inspired greatness. And it wasn't because he was an officer or senior officer to me, and it wasn't because he had so many years of service under his belt, and it wasn't because my orders said that he was the captain of the ship. He earned loyalty and respect because he had personal authority. And I try to live that lesson every single day. Because if you do, you can help lead people to live with the determination to excel, to bring the very best out of them that they can deliver. Because if you want something, all you have to do is go get it. There's nothing stopping you except maybe you. After I left active duty in the Navy, I decided to go to graduate school and got a master's in business again. And my first job, real job, not in the military, after graduate school, was with a leading consumer products company in operations. Now in the Navy, operations is where you go to shoot all the missiles and where you command the ship from. It's really cool. That's where you save the world from. Just for the record, not so much in business, in case anybody wants to write that down. It's not the same in the business world. I showed up on my first day at work in my one and only suit, bright and early, reported to human resources, just like the acceptance letter said, ready to make it happen, filled out the paperwork, was done by about 8:20, and the human resources person told me, "Well, okay, you're done. We'll see you at 12. I'm thinking to myself, well, 12? You get started awful late around here. And she said, no, you're the third shift production manager at the cigarette factory down the road. And I'm like, what? She said, you start at midnight. Okay. Well, that wasn't what I thought at all. You see, I was an officer in the Navy. I had a graduate degree. And now I'm the third shift production manager at a cigarette factory. You want to talk about a shock. You want to talk about depressing? But I'll tell you, folks, it was a start. From the third shift production manager at a cigarette factory, you can become the CEO of Walmart if you choose to. So after a few groggy weeks of third shift and a whole bunch of complaining, I just decided to do something about it. And one morning after my shift ended, I went home and took a shower and washed off the tobacco dust, put my suit back on, my one and only suit, and I just decided to go hang around the marketing department. I mean, I had a badge and everything, so I was legit, and they couldn't really kick me out. They didn't know who I was. It was a bit weird, to be quite honest with you. And I just started hanging around, and I listened, and I watched, and I learned, and I volunteered for things, and I went to lunch with people, and I started writing reports that nobody asked for, and eventually they started to realize, first of all, that I could actually contribute, and second of all, that I just wasn't going to go away. And eventually, after several months of working, I'd work my shift, go home, change clothes, go work the day shift, go back to the house, grab a few hours of sleep if I could. They finally gave me a job in the marketing department. And that's where I stayed for quite a while. But the lesson is here, folks, that you can do whatever you choose to do. You can't be stopped unless you decide you want to stop. Keep challenging yourself. You can reinvent yourself. You can make yourself better. And if you want something, you can just go get it. There's nothing stopping you. Because if you follow your heart and you follow your gut, there's always a reward on the other side, even though sometimes it may not be what you expect. In the winter of 2003, I had a great job at that point. I was president of a division of another consumer products company, and I was living in Miami, Florida. Awesome place to live, in case anybody ever knows. I had a boat, I fished a lot, the weather was great. But, you know, to be perfectly honest with you, I wasn't all that fulfilled. Excuse me. Like so many of us in 2003, I was profoundly affected by the impact of September 11th, and I was still in the Navy Reserve, although getting on in my career and really not much use. I wasn't recalled. I wanted to do something. I wanted to contribute, and I had this need to do more with my life. And the governor of Florida, Jeb Bush, had just been reelected the previous November, and I had met him several times, but I'd hardly say that I knew him. During his process of his reelection, he asked several of the business leaders across the state, including me, to come to the Capitol and review some of the state agencies, make some recommendations on how things might be able to work more efficiently. And I was really privileged to do so, and at the end of the week made some recommendations to the governor and thought nothing of it, went home back to Miami to my beautiful life in the boat. And one Saturday morning, not too long after that, I was fishing with my sons, and I got a phone call on my cell phone from the governor. And I was surprised. I thought maybe I left my briefcase in his office or something, and he was calling to tell me to come get it. But he said, "I was impressed with your ideas. I'd really like for you to come and join my administration." I was flattered. You know, I never really considered it. And I said, "Governor, I have a great job, and, you know, that's a pretty serious pay cut." And he said, I know it is, but I could tell that you really want to do this. So don't give me an answer right now. Go home, talk to your family about it, and call me back on Monday." Of course, he was right. I really did. I really needed to do it. And I got home, spoke to my wife, called the governor on Monday and told him I'd be honored to take the position, even though it was about 20% of what I was making in the other job. I did it because it was the right thing to do. I did it because I knew it would make me better. I did it because I need to contribute. And I did it because I wanted my two sons to see what being fulfilled looked like, and that life isn't just about how much money you can make and how many things you can collect. Because searching for meaning means that you have the opportunity one day to change the world. And it's probably clear to you, and you heard it from the introduction, more eclectic than just straightforward, my background. I've always been searching for something, some way to make an impact, and I think a lot of you are too. I found it working for Governor Bush, and I was really, really blessed to find it again at Walmart. I joined Walmart in March of 2006, in March of 2006. Just a few short months later in July, my team came up with the idea of selling $4 prescriptions to Walmart customers. $4 for a 30-day supply of prescriptions that people need. Groundbreaking stuff, really. Nobody had ever done it. Seemingly impossible to execute. In August, the next month, we presented the idea to Walmart leadership, and we launched it in September. I joined the company in March, and we launched it in September. Wow. I mean, that's fast. It was ambitious and it was bold, and I got to tell you, there was a whole lot of resistance, both internal and external. And I was nervous. I mean, we're looking at just a few months with the company. We'd moved to Bentonville, Arkansas, and now we're just, taking this really, really big bet. Now, this could have been the shortest Walmart career in the history of Walmart careers. We were nervous. We weren't even sure that it was going to work. We didn't know if it was even legal when we started it in all 50 states. But we sure did it. And the night before we launched, I remember just staring at the ceiling, couldn't sleep. My wife said, what's on your mind? And I said, I'm sorry, we moved here, and I just don't know if this thing's going to work. This could be, a real quick trip to Bentonville. And she said, you know what? My wife's always been my compass. She said, if you lose your job because you tried to save people money on their prescriptions, I can live with that. We'll just move. And man, I'll tell you, that's another thing that gives you the support and the confidence you need to do what you think is the right thing to do. And to date, that program, launched in 2006, has saved Americans over $3.5 billion in their health care bill. $3.5 billion. It's the only thing, to be quite honest with you, that you can point to that's actually lowered the cost of health care in America. It is. We did it because we decided to do it. We did it because we're committed to do it. And for me, that is the greatest part about my job. I get to help people save money so they can live better. Who doesn't want to get up in the morning to do that? That's awesome. I'm proud of it. I'm proud of what our company does in our communities all around the country, really all around the globe, every single day. Never settle for average. You're all better than that. You can choose to be exceptional. And I'm going to take one moment, if you'll indulge me, to maybe, be a dad for all of you just for a few moments. As I mentioned, my son started at Baylor last fall, and when he came home for Christmas, like all of you, we had a little bit of a chat about his grades, let's say. They were okay. They were average. You know what I feel about average. We've talked about that already. Now, I wasn't angry, really. I wasn't even disappointed, necessarily. But I wanted him to understand the consequences of average. I wanted him to understand what that meant. See, he doesn't live an average life today. He doesn't drive an average car. He doesn't live in an average house. He doesn't go to an average school. Doesn't have average clothes. He lives an exceptional life today. And I said to him, you can choose to be average or you can choose to be exceptional. It's really up to you. I can't do it for you. But I want you to recognize the limitations of average. See, average doesn't inspire people. Average doesn't fuel change. Average doesn't stir excitement. And average most likely won't deliver you a fulfilled life. Truthfully, choosing to be average doesn't show respect for the gifts that you've been given. Choose to do more. Choose to be exceptional. You have it in you, but it's your responsibility. I'd like to thank you for allowing me to reflect some, because preparing for this today has really helped me as I continue on my journey. And it really crystallized for me that I became the person that I am today when I was sitting in the chairs that you're sitting in today. A young guy with, loads of potential and a whole lot of obstacles. A fellow with conviction and always opposition. A person of faith with lots of questions, as we all do. But I'm certain that my time when I was in college was the beginning of who I am as a global citizen. Now, I've had a few tune-ups over the years, some successes, and probably a whole lot more failures, but I became who I am today when I was where you are today. Now, I have a lot more to do in my life, and so do you, really, more than I, in fact. You're special. You chose to be at this school because of your commitment to your faith. And that commitment is driving you to do more. And as I said, we need you. We need you out there in the world that we're living in today. It's more than just an opportunity. It's more than just that. It's your responsibility. You see, I don't think you were accepted here at Liberty just to make you better. You were selected to be here because you have the capacity to make the world a better place in whatever you do. Now, that's expecting a lot from you all, and I'm not at all ashamed to tell you that it's a tall order, but you're up for it. I know you are, because you're all brighter. You wouldn't be here because you have faith on your side and because you genuinely care about making a difference. It's hard work. I promise you it's hard work. There'll be days when you want to give up, but you have to push. And I'll leave you with this very, very simple message. If you don't quit, you can't possibly fail. There's nothing standing in your way, and we so desperately need you. Good luck. I can't wait to see what you're going to do. Thank you so much for having me.